What's happening, y'all? Down South 77 here again, and this is 3 Star Draw. This is an adult collector channel where we talk about G.I. Joe and G.I. Joe stuff, primarily focusing on classified. Every now and then, take a look at some other random toy lines, just some other stuff that I like and I may pick up. Do a video on it just to get some extra content out. Maybe somebody that's not specifically just looking for Joe stuff, looking for other random toy stuff to watch, might stumble across and enjoy what I'm doing. So that's the rationale behind that. I'd like to welcome you back if you are a returning viewer, and I'd like to welcome you here if you are a new one. Thanks for stopping by. Today I am doing a quick video. I know, quick, right? Um, about a plea I have. It's not really a plea, it is a hope at this point. And that hope is that when we get Clutch with the Vamp, he is not completely jacked up. So I do want to say though, anybody that's been watching me or seeing any of my comments on posts on the socials or anything, you heard it here. I called it. We were going to get the Vamp. What did I say? We were going to have the Vamp in hand by the end of March. I don't have any inside information. I'm just a dude that likes toys that does YouTube. I just base that on the way they've been releasing stuff and the fact that they've been saying they're going to slow the releases down, which was a giant steaming load of BS. I'm not complaining, but man, does it mess up budgeting. So back to Clutch. I want a Clutch figure. I'll tell you, I almost canceled my Vamp pre-order. I pre-ordered it. I think I pre-ordered it that first day, but it's like all the Pulse stuff, right? It goes up, it sells out, and then it comes right back. And then the closer it gets creeping up, and even on some of the stuff, it sells out and comes back and sells out again right before it comes out or right after it comes out. And the first few people that get it in hand show it off and do pictures of it, and then everybody's like, "Oh man, I should have ordered that." Looking at you, Valkyries. But Clutch, I really like Clutch. I was gonna cancel my pre-order on it just because I had to tie up some loose ends as far as pre-orders and money and stuff like that. And I want the Clutch figure more than I want the Vamp. Personally, I mean the Vamp's badass. I like the Vamp Mark II. I'm in the minority, but I just really wanted Clutch, but I didn't cancel it. I'm gonna get it, and I just man, after after what they did to Breaker, they did Breaker dirty, and I hope they get Clutch right. So the Breaker and the Ram cycle was number 29 when it come out. The line was young. They were still ironing kinks out. That's part of the Cobra Island stuff. So, that Firefly is kind of loose. A couple of those figures are kind of loose. The plastic was harder. They have since evolved the line, and it actually seemed like it got really better. Then it dropped off again, and now I hope it is getting a little bit better. The last few figures, except for Buzzer and for some people the other Firefly, they've been pretty good. And Mole Rat. I shouldn't think about this too much. Clutch and the Vamp are number 112, so that's 83 releases between Breaker and Clutch. Those are important figures to have, but Breaker is a horrible figure. I'm going to show a picture here. I'm going to pop a picture in that I took of how Breaker is in my display behind me. You probably can't see him. He's just about in the middle on the second shelf beside one of those bats, between a bat and Spirit. But I'm going to show a picture here of my Clutch figure. And it's not a good picture, but I didn't really try. So that is how I have my Clutch posed. I have my Clutch posed that way because one, he seems one of the most likely characters to be chugging beers, and two, it's kind of an inside joke, or not really inside, but you'll get it if you have Clutch. He falls the hell over if you don't have him on the ram. You can get him posed. I've had him stood like that for a while, but man, getting him to stand up because he is so loose and floppy, He's the worst parts of most of the figures thrown into one. I hope someday we get a retro better clutch. Maybe when they do the or not clutch, breaker. Sorry, I keep mixing those two up. I may do that in this video because they've both been on my mind. I hope we get a more of a retro, better made figure of breaker. I don't know that they would do it because they announced dial tone, but they're gonna go back and they're gonna redo some of these guys. I don't mind that figure of breaker. I just wish that he had some gear. You know, he should have had some kind of communications gear. And the sculpt, all that's okay, but the figure's just very poorly designed. So my hope is that Clutch is put together much better. I'm hoping that since there's been so much gap, 83 figures between them, that we won't have those problems with Clutch. But I almost feel like a character like Clutch, you're not going to have him doing much, right? It's kind of like Breaker. If you don't have him on the Ram, he didn't come with any gear. He's the communications guy. What you're not gonna like have him fighting Storm Shadow, so you don't really have to get Breaker into any crazy dynamic poses or anything. Even though you should be able to, that figure just ain't gonna do it. At least mine's not. So I hope they did not kind of cut corners on Clutch, because you're most of the time either gonna have him seated in the Vamp, or you're going to have him under the hood of the Vamp or something like that, where he's not going to really have to have any action or whatever. So that's just kind of a hope that I have, because we're going to be getting hit. Our cards are probably going to start getting hit for that on Friday. He's supposed to come out with, I think, the 12th, whatever. Tuesday is the day that he's supposed to release now. So they're going to start charging our cards anytime for him. And as soon as they do, we're getting ready to get hit with the avalanche of figures from the rest of that wave. So I just want to make a quick little video putting my hope out there that Clutch is actually a good figure, and they didn't focus more on the ooh and ah of the Vamp itself, and they didn't put much into Clutch. He looks good, but Clutch was always one of my favorites, especially out of the OG figures. He kind of got bumped down the list a little later on as the line went, but as far as characters, like the characterization of him in the cartoon was spot on. That was really where I started watching Joe, was cartoon, and then I started picking up comics and getting back issues of comics. So I have an affinity for some of those cartoon versions. Then, of course, there's some that the cartoon version completely ruins the character, but we've already talked about that, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again someday. So if you're watching any news, if you've got any Instagram on or anything, and if you're looking at your phone, I'm sure you do, we're getting leaks tonight for the, I don't know if it's the Entertainment Earth, or I don't even know what it is, but they're supposed to be announcing some figures. There's a Walmart collector thing coming up where, maybe that's it. Maybe that is it. But they just leaked a new Ram cycle that is in Night Force colors. So I guess maybe that is the Walmart thing. I don't know. And it comes with a figure, and it looks to be a repaint of Night Force Shockwave, or it is a steel core that uses the Shockwave body. My guess is it's going to be Night Force Shockwave, because that makes more sense, and we know we're going to be getting Night Force Shockwave at some point. So if you hadn't seen that yet, go search for it. By the time I get this video out, who knows if anything else will leak. You know how it goes with this stuff. Every 30 minutes or hour, if there's more than one thing coming out, we're going to get leaks. So anyway, that is my little spiel for today. Once again, thank you guys for stopping by. What do you think? You care if Clutch is janky, or do you like Clutch and you want Clutch to be a good figure? I want to have Clutch holding a Gatling gun standing on the hood. maybe with the other guns facing another way. Anyway, till next time, you guys take it easy. This is 3-Star Draw.